Good morning, I'm Pastor Allen, and today is Thursday, July 30th, and we are looking at Matthew chapter 17. And we are beginning in verse 14. It says, Jesus heals a demon-possessed boy. When they came to the crowd, a man approached Jesus and knelt before him. Lord, have mercy on my son, he said. He has seizures and is suffering greatly. He often falls into the fire or into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they could not heal him. You unbelieving and perverse generation, Jesus replied, how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me. Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of the boy, and he was healed at that moment. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private and asked, why couldn't we drive it out? He replied, because you have so little faith. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. You know, I don't know if you've seen on the news, there was a doctor talking about, she's also a minister, but talking about demons causing illnesses. And yes, that can happen. Now, there's a fine line here, and there's a whole lot of theological debate behind it. When we look at this passage here, Jesus acknowledges that a demon, which he drives out, was causing the boy's illness. And like I said, it's a fine line. It's not just because someone has an illness doesn't mean it's caused by a demon. And so there is a fine line there. But the Bible clearly tells us that yes, some illnesses are caused by demons. And so our first line of defense should be prayer. Our second line of defense is using our mind and going to the doctor and using the wisdom that God has given us to use. And in verse 22, Jesus predicts his death a second time. When they came together in Galilee, he said to them, the Son of Man is going to be delivered into hands of men. They will kill him, and on the third day he will be raised to life. And the disciples were filled with grief. We don't like it when someone, either a friend or a loved one, dies. But in this case, Jesus has promised that he will rise again, and he has risen again. And so we don't have to grieve his death or the death of any believer. Yes, we'll be sad because we miss them, but at the same time, the promise is if they are a believer, we will see them again. And then verse 24, it talks about the temple tax. After Jesus and his disciples arrived in Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachma temple tax came to Peter and asked, doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax? Yes, he does, he replied. When Peter came into the house, Jesus was the first to speak. What do you think, Simon? He asked. From whom do the kings of the earth collect duty and taxes? From their own children or from others? From others, Peter answered. Then the children are exempt, Jesus said to him. But so that we may not cause offense, go to the lake, throw out your line, take the first fish you catch, open its mouth, and you will find a 4 drachma coin. Take it and give it to them for my tax and yours. Talk about an amazing miracle. Talk about an amazing blessing. I think when Peter answered this, yes, he does, he wasn't really sure. And I think he was defending Jesus. But nevertheless, Jesus made it right. He sent Peter out to fish. They caught the fish, and he said, in the fish you will find the coin. And of course, fish bite at anything nice and shiny. And apparently this was the case. Something dropped off of a boat or on the shore, and the fish saw it as something shiny and picked it up. And Peter just happened to catch the fish through the miracle of God and pay the temple tax. So it tells us we have a responsibility not only to Jesus, the spiritual aspect of our responsibility, but we also have a physical aspect of obeying the leaders, right or wrong, not depending on how you feel, but obeying the earthly rulers. But ultimately, Jesus is the one that is going to make all things right. And we see that here, and we will see it in the future. We've just got to keep our spiritual aspect, our spiritual life right in order for the physical life to work. Have a great Thursday. Talk to you tomorrow.